performing man conference. Wow.
Hi everyone, I'm John, and I've just finished with the High Performance Men Conference.
High performing man conference was amazing.
What an extraordinary weekend this has been. It's been a very power-packed weekend from beginning to the end.
I wasn't quite sure what to expect coming in, but I mean, you've blown all my expectations.
And honestly, I'm lost for words. I'm blown away, but I'm also left really challenged and charged as well. When I came in this morning, my expectations were nowhere near what I actually came and experienced today.
If you were in the room, I've just been hearing that you've not seen men that are vulnerable, that are authentic. And I think it's time for men to begin to help men more.
I've met some very wonderful speakers, made some wonderful connections, but more importantly, I've been charged to become the man that I believe God is coming to be.
And look, we're finished, and they're still around. Nobody wants to go home.
Right? This is the first time I'm ever seeing men at a conference not wanting to go home.
So that means this would have gone on for hours and hours if you even could.
And because we've had a very insightful and a thought-provoking and life-transforming and life-changing seminar.
We encourage you and really charge you that if you hear about this next year, please do everything to attend, because you would not remain the same.
When there's another event, I'm definitely coming. My name is Michael, by the way.
If you see anything anywhere, before they finish saying high performing, before they say the man, you'll have bought your ticket already, because you just don't want to miss the next one.
Wanting to invest in whatever it is that God has called you to do, you want to register for next year.
What a phenomenon time to be alive, and what a phenomenon time to be in this section today. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. How are you guys doing today? I believe you're good. I believe you're great. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Well, late afternoon in the UK, really, or evening, whatever you want to call it. All right. And I believe you guys are great as well. Just let me know if you can hear me on the chat. Let me know. And please, can you share this with your friends and family to join us? You can watch this while you are taking your popcorn or eating your evening dinner, depending on where you are. It's quite an interesting conversation that we need to have today. And I believe that it's going to help us to learn, unlearn, and relearn as well. Okay, so I will appreciate if you are able to join me by just sharing this with your friends and family. Let them join us today, and we could have an amazing time and an amazing conversation as well. All right. And if you're joining or you're watching this in replay, wherever you are, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you know when more videos are released, and you'll be able to participate as well. And let's also help to let others know that we are live and we are going to have an awesome time. Basically, the video you saw was the High Performing Man Conference that is coming up in London on the 6th of July, basically a couple of weeks away from today. And we want to encourage all men in London and around the UK to just take a Saturday, to come and meet with the brothers, right? The brotherhood, where we will be able to unmask ourselves. We're able to focus on the challenges that are peculiar and particular to men, especially those around the diaspora, or specifically those in this place in the UK, and we'll be able to find a way to go forward. Many people are just suffering in silence. Some are having parental difficulties. Some are having marital difficulties. Some are work related, finance. There's a lot of things going on in the life of men that most times we don't share, but we know that we are going through a lot. So it's going to be very exciting to have men in the room on the 6th of July. So make sure that you go to www. this website here to get your ticket. And if you're a woman and your wife, your husband needs to be in this event, or your brother, your uncle, those around you, they need to be in this event because of the impact it's going to have in their marriage, in their relationship, in their work, in their business, and different dynamics of life. If you look very carefully, the event is titled The Complete Man, right? That's what the event is all about, The Complete Man. And we have lineup of speakers, panel sections, workshops, a time to unmask, to ask specific questions, being vulnerable in the room. Just come and share what you're going through and be heard. That's the idea behind this conference. And I can't wait to see every one of you men in that event. Husbands, join us. Brothers, uncles, single parents, husbands, join us. Mature adults, mature men, join us. We're gonna have an awesome time in that place. You can send us even an email. You can send us DM as well. We'll be able to have that conversation with you. And I can't wait to have that amazing time. ACE, the High Performing Man Conference on the 6th of July. Today is going to be quite an interesting day. This is a topic that I've taken my time to look into. And also, from a personal perspective, I'm going to share a couple of things which I strongly believe that it can actually help any man, help any woman in their marriage and relationship. Today's topic is quite unique. We are looking at autocratic husband versus nagging wife. Autocratic husband versus nagging wife. You know, today topic is quite biblical, right? It's really biblical. It's not even something that we need to shy about, but it's a topic that we need to be very frank of what is happening. I'm a husband myself, and I got a wife, and I'm also a marriage coach, and I've seen a lot of things, and I've heard a lot of things, and hence I decided that I'm going to talk about this. And it'd be nice for you to share this in any group for people to listen to, watch this, replay this with their husbands, and find a way to move forward. But I just want to talk about what is this thing all about? Autocratic husband and nagging wife. Is there something about the scripture that relates to this? That we need to know about, that we need to understand and know how the dynamics of this thing is working, and how we can actually be better if we know what to do and if we know how to navigate this terrain. If you look at the Bible, Proverbs, yeah, I think Proverbs 21 verse 9, it says, better to live on a corner of the roof than to share a house with a quarrelsome wife. A quarrelsome wife is a nagging wife, right? And this proverb highlights the discomfort and the discord, the disagreement, the pain, the misery that constant nagging can bring to a husband or to even a household, to the children, yelling and screaming and literally being so restless in the language that this woman uses at home. The Bible says it's better to live on a corner of the roof than share a house with a nagging wife, than with a quarrelsome wife. It's a very serious something when you need to live by the corner of a roof. And that is very inconveniencing. That is really sad and miserable. But it's better to be there than to stay with someone that nags and quarrels all the time. And the Bible also said that in Proverbs 27:15 and 16, it said, a quarrelsome wife is like the dripping of a leaky roof in a rainstorm. Restraining her is like restraining the wind or grasping oil with the hand. Wow. Can you just imagine a quarrelsome wife? And as I'm talking about this, I'm going to get to the man very shortly, but it's very, very important that if you're a woman watching this and you have these traits, because I'm going to talk about what are the signs of a nagging wife, and how are they made? What makes them to be like this? But the reality is that a lot of people could be in this category because of a lot of things that have happened and the exposures that they've had over their lives. But think about living in a house that is leaking, constantly leaking, and that is the description that God is saying from the biblical perspective, that a nagging wife, a quarrelsome woman, is like a house that is leaking, a roof is leaking. And when something is leaking, you will have the sun there that shouldn't be there. You will have rain there, snow, hail, deaths, all kind of thing coming to the house, which will make the house very uncomfortable. You can't live in such a place. That is the description of a nagging wife. And I don't think that is exciting at all. Okay. And then when you talk about the nagging husband as well, from a biblical perspective, So one thing about the nagging husband is control, right? Is domination. Okay, which is sad. The Bible said in Genesis that God said He made man in His own image, and He blessed them, and He told them to be fruitful, to multiply, to replenish the earth, and He told them to have dominion, dominion over the trees, dominion over the field, dominion over what He has created for. Okay, unfortunately, when man sinned and men fell, and God gave an instruction after the fall, and it was meted out punishment to each person. Man will return to the dust and he's going to suffer. Things are going to be very hard. And the woman as well, difficulty in childbearing. But he also said that the husband is going to rule over her. Now, rule and leading is not the same. When you rule a woman, it's controlling, it's dominating, right? It's subduing. And sometimes it's treating that person like the person is his slave. And it's a very strong words, right? But remember, this was the fall. This is when man has gone down. Man has not been able to meet up to the glory and the standard of God after the fall. But we thank God for Christ, right? Jesus Christ came, and the work He did was to take away that domination of a man over a woman, to take away that suppression, to take away that punishment of rulership instead of leadership. So Jesus came to introduce leadership into the dynamic relationship between a man and a woman. And this is why He made very clear that a man should love the wife as Christ loved the church. That is leadership. That is not dominion. That is not controlling. That is not subduing. That's not subjugating. And that is not objectifying something as non-human. So Christ introduced another concept because of what He did on the cross when He came, right? He introduced leadership. The man should lead, not to dominate, to rule, to subdue. That's different. So you see, but today is different. Even though Christ has done this, there's a lot of natural men that have not experienced encounter with the divine Christ. So their heart is not changed, they are not transformed, they are still very secular, they're still very humanistic, they're still very logic, they're still very earthly, right? Their mind, their thoughts, and a lot of things about them is still under the old way of leading women, leading their wives, leading their home, which is autocratism, authoritarianism, dominion, subduing, and literally subjugating this person. And that is the crisis that we are having today in relationship. So we have the autocratic man, and then we have the nagging wife. So we see these things exist in scriptures, in the Holy Book, the Bible. But now, can we just go a little bit further to break down this autocratic husband and a nagging wife? And I want to plead with those watching, you can share your thoughts on the comments, ask your questions, but just examine yourself. Maybe you are not married now, you are hopefully going to get married one day, but the dynamics of your operation and your interaction and conversation right now with intending spouse or your family, your friends, your circle, your group, are you nagging? Are you nagging? Are you quarrelsome? Do people see you as this troublesome woman or troublesome lady? Do you have the traits? I'm going to show you the signs in a minute. As a husband, as you're watching this, we're not condemning you here. We're trying to make you to reflect. We're trying to make you to realize. We're trying to make you to understand the dynamics of what is going on in your life so you can seek help and literally go probably to have an encounter with your creator, but at the same time start renewing your mind and changing the dynamics of your character and habits that is not serving your wife or serving your household or serving your relationship. And you might be someone that is not even married as a man. How does your siblings view you? How does your friends view you? How does your community, how does the interaction, your workplace, how do they view you? What are your comportments, your character, your behavior, your habits, your lifestyle? What does it show? Does it show you are autocratic? You're authoritarian? you're supernaturally strict. It's either you or no one. Egocentric, self-centered, that will not serve you when you get married. And it's going to be a hell of a toxic relationship with whoever you're going to get married to. So we're not pointing finger here, but we're just telling you to tell this thing exists. I'm a marriage coach, and I know there are some men, unfortunately, in marriage and relationship that are very autocratic, and their wives are scared of them, terrified. Kids are terrified, but they think that they are able to navigate their relationship successfully. Unfortunately, it's not the case. So we want to go into depth a bit just to see who is a nagging wife and who is an autocratic husband. How do you know them? What are the signs that shows that this man is autocratic and this woman is autocratic? So what are the signs of an autocratic husband? Of a husband that is highly authoritarian, very, very supernaturally strict, someone that is either him or no one. So he's very controlling. Autocratic husband insists on making all major decisions by themselves, will never consult the wife, will never consult anyone, just them and them alone. Most times, by control, they make themselves God. So they are God to their wives. It's only them that matters. So very controlling. They never budge. That's an autocratic husband. Number two, they are dominion driven. So everything about them is domination. And most times, even when their wife is talking, they will interrupt. They will talk over their wife. Whatever their wife says, they will listen. Sometimes they will agree. But most times they just dismiss everything she says. Her opinion doesn't count, doesn't matter. If this thing is happening all the time, then that is an issue. That's a man that is very autocratic. Another sign is rigidity. The man is 100% inflexible. In his routines, is inflexible. His expectations, inflexible. He's never willing to compromise about anything. It has to be the man. It has to be him, right? And most times he use the Bible and say, you have to submit, you have to submit, you have to submit. And then he can manipulate a lot of things. That's the sign of an autocratic husband. What about criticism? He regularly criticizes his wife's opinion, her choice, her choices, her behavior, her appearance. Everything about the woman is always being criticized because he always feels that he's the best. Criticism is constant in the mouth of an autocratic husband. And also, he manipulates the wife via isolation. He will discourage the wife. He will limit the wife from having interactions with friends and families. He will do everything to ensure that the wife does not regularly interact with those that can probably help her and uplift her or elevate her and support her. So he will do everything to stop the wife from seeing the world or having interaction. He will block her from her in-laws, block her from her family, block her from her friends. Very, very, very domineering. That is an autocratic husband. And most times as well, he does punish the wife. Yeah, he meets out punishment, and this punishment can be in form of silence, like completely withdraw affection from the woman, from the wife. And the reason why he does these things, remember, one of his biggest strengths of an autocratic husband is control. And he can use any punitive ways, any strategy, any cunning strategy just to control the behavior of the wife. Sometimes, unfortunately, some even try to hit their wives, abuse them in so many ways, which is sad, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, maritally, sexually. It's sad. That's what autocratic husband does. And they are also financially controlling. Sometimes they don't even give money to the wife at all. They don't even give money to the wife. Do you know how many women that have known that the husband don't give nothing, which is very sad, very, very unfortunate. These are signs of autocratic husband. The question is, are you autocratic? If you're a husband watching this, or wife, is your husband autocratic? We're gonna find a way to move forward from here, because it's very important that you consider things in different ways. All these signs are proof that the autocratic husband is present in your life, in your relationship. And for those that are not married, you need to be very careful. Don't be carried away by emotions and by charisma. Try to really do proper habit analysis, character analysis. Don't be carried away by churchianism or this speaking in tongues or running around. Spirituality most times hide a lot of dangerous flaws that can really, really destroy and make a marriage very toxic, very difficult place to inhabit. So if you are single, please open your eyes and do proper check and proper analysis before you get yourself into some serious problem, and most times it's too late. Now let's talk about how is an autocratic husband made. What makes someone to be like this? To exhibit this character, this behavior. Most of you might be thinking, oh well, religious people are not like this. Really? You need to think again, because not everyone has encountered genuine transformation from their solical level. Some are very spirit interaction kind of people, but solical level, from the soul side, the mind is not growing, the heart is not growing, the intellect is not growing, the emotion from intelligence point of view is not growing, and that person is just screaming and shouting God's name and busy speaking and doing all sorts, and you're just carried away by that charisma, by that shouting and screaming, and you're not looking directly into the life of that person. And that is so difficult and so hard. And it's unfortunate that a lot of these men, ladies, you need to listen to me. If you are married and you are seeing these signs, you need help. Don't be carried away because he prays, because he's religious, because he bows down to the pastors in his church, or he's busy with spirit activities. Don't be carried away. Your husband is measured by character transformation, by positive habit formation. It's measured by the way he lives and the things he does. That's where you measure the strength of your husband. So let's see how these autocratic men are made. Number one, childhood environment. Childhood environment. Growing up in a family where control and authority were emphasized more than love, care, and respect can model autocratic behavior in a man's life. If the father never allowed the mother to speak, if the father makes all the decisions, if the father controls all the affairs of the home, if the father does not seek for any advice or acknowledge another female gender in his life, the reality is that the men in his life will likely do the same thing significantly in their own marriages. Because children see what happens and try to model and do it later. Some of them unconsciously, they have seen this model of behavior, autocratic behavior. They might not be autocratic when they were teenagers or autocratic when they were babies or little kids, but now they are adults. They have stored the autocratic memory, in their faculties, they have stored it. Now they have the opportunity to resurrect and activate this autocratism, authoritarianism, and all these things that they have. So you see, it's a very serious thing. Another one is cultural norms. This one is a very big one, especially if you are Asian background, African background, you know, um, African American background, the Central American background, all that. We're not saying that the other cultures don't do this, but I'm just going to speak from my own cultural perspective. Culture that prioritize men dominance and control can reinforce autocratic tendencies. There are some cultures that truly, truly promote men dominance. And these things happen in a very, very difficult way. So when the women don't have voice, when the women are not acknowledged or recognized, when women are not seen as anything, when they're seen like you're just gonna make babies and go, you're gonna be married, and then you're gonna get out of the house. We don't have your time. We are not, you're not part of inheritance, you're not part of anything. And then whenever anything happened in a marriage, when they call the meeting, and most times you see that the culture tends to defend the man. And then they'll start advising the woman, don't do this, do that. And the man is just sitting there and is happy and excited. And then by the time they go home, it was continue in the bad autocratic behavior because the elders has given him thumbs up, the society and the culture gave him thumbs up, the traditional lineage, whatever has given him thumbs up, everything has given him thumbs up. Why do you think he's going to do otherwise? He's going to use the culture. And sometimes maybe they might even want to be different. He's trying to change. But the culture and the environment is telling him, why are you changing? Why are you trying to bow down? Come on, you're a man. Be a man. And then the thing wakes up and say and gets strengthened. And then he begins to do more harm than good. So culture makes men to grow in autocratic tendencies. Unfortunately, this one is very sad, but religious organizations sometimes can create autocratism as well. Okay. And I say this with caution. We need to respect our leaders in church. We need to support them. We need to pray for them. We need to do all that. But when you have a man that is autocratic by nature in his house, autocratic by nature in his behavior, and has not been challenged and has not found a way to be better, that autocratism within the church environment is going to fuel that. And if men are under that leadership, if men are under that organization, they will see the way their leader is very autocratic, doesn't listen, doesn't take correction, doesn't do anything. It's only him. It's like a god. He decide everything. He dominates. He rules. Wow. What do you expect? Even when the woman goes to the church or goes to the religious environment or institution to say, this is what is going on, I need some help for us to deal with this or that, the entire autocratic environment, the atmosphere is autocratic, the religious leaders are autocratic. Most times they will support the man, and that could not be something that a woman will endure. It's going to be very difficult to be in that place. So religious organization can also do that. Some number four is insecurity. When a man is very insecure, a man is not respecting himself, doesn't value himself, he doesn't see himself as worthy, he doesn't look at his own competence and things that he can do. He just look down on himself. Literally, this seated lack of unworthiness, um, lack of deserving anything, and lack of fear and insecurity. All these things are just there as traumatic traits in the man. So the man will have this drive, the need to control, the need to subdue. And for him, controlling because of his insecurity will mean safe for him. And that is not great. That is sad. So that can become a very difficult place to be if the man is very insecure. The wife is doing better and is insecure. The wife is achieving more stuff, is insecure. Or something are happening that the wife is giving more compliments or recognized award, is insecure. You start competing and all kind of stuff. That becomes a very difficult place to be. That man is made by insecurity. And finally, past experiences. Do you know that previous relationships or life experiences that reinforces a lot of control can lead to some real strategic, successful autocratism in that marriage, in that relationship. So this is why you need to now think and ask yourself, am I autocratic as a man? Is your husband autocratic? From what I'm saying, you might be wondering, but I love my husband. I didn't say you don't. But is he comfortable? Is he good to be in such an environment where an autocratic husband lives and dwells? And do you know the amount of trauma, like the impact of living with an autocratic husband as a wife? I mean, wives, you can even put on the chart for me. You can even think about it. There's a lot of emotional distress because this constant control and criticism can lead to a lot of anxiety, depression, low self-esteem in the wife, isolationism. She just feel like she's not worthy, she's not good, she's not great. See what I mean? So living with an autocratic husband is not easy. It's toxic, it's difficult, it's hard. The woman will be depressed. She will be sad. She'll be miserable. She'll be apprehensive. Sometimes panic attacks. She feels unworthy. She feels scared and terrified. It's a terrible place to be when an autocratic husband is there in the marriage and relationship. It's a difficult place to be for a woman. And also, the woman, she can't even be able to express herself. There's going to be communication breakdown because there's no dialogue. It's monologue. An autocratic husband prefers monologue than dialogue. And it's really difficult and it's really sad when you see these things happen in the marriage and relationship. And when there is no dialogue, when there is no understanding, when there is no sharing, there will be a lot of resentments, misunderstanding. There's a lot of challenge and issues and problems. You will not be able to fully understand the dynamics of what is exactly happening in the relationship. So communication will not be exciting. And even if there is communication there, you realize that there won't be peace. There won't be peace. Who doesn't want peace? Everybody wants peace. But when that is there, there won't be peace. There will be isolation. There will be limited social interactions, going out, enjoying yourselves as a husband, no, as a wife. You might even get into loneliness. There will be no support system. Everything is just mumbled up, and the woman is just feeling like, am I in a relationship or I'm in prison? It's a very challenging place to be. Conflict will be escalating all the time. Persistent conflict will be happening in that place. Arguments, heightened tensions every day, all the time. We're not saying that you won't have occasional of days in a marriage relationship But when it's happening 3 times a day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, then it's a big problem. There is no time of calmness and peace and enjoyment in a marriage and relationship. And these are the things that you need to consider and think about. And sometimes the wife is also powerless. Her creativity is gone. Her intelligence is gone. Her ability to do things is gone. She even start losing her sense of identity, independence. A lot of things that start happening in the marriage and relationship. So many consequences. So many consequences. Very, very difficult. So, and it's something that one need to think about. We need to consider. Because toxicity in relationship does not help anyone. It breaks down everything. It causes more problem and more trouble. So this is who an autocratic husband is. I've told you what are the signs, and I've also made it very clear to you how they are made. Are you seeing the signs? How are they made? Number 3, what is the impact? What are the consequences of living with an autocratic husband? As a wife, it's very clear. Some women are taking antidepressant medication right now. Some women are having they can't, they are not, they've lost everything. They've lost themselves, which is difficult and which is sad. The question is, are you going through all this right now? I'm going to tell you how you're going to get out of this, okay? Which is very, very important and very, very good. Right. Now, I want to talk about the woman before we take a short break, and then we come back and talk about the solution. What are we going to do? How are we going to live with a autocratic husband and a nagging wife? What do we do to support the dynamics of these things happening in our marriage and relationship? Because this thing can become a pain, a difficult place to be. How do we navigate ourselves from here? Because if you don't know what the problem is, then how are you going to know the solution? We're going to see the problems. We're going to see how the impacts are happening in marriage and relationship, and then how we can move forward. So now let's talk about the nagging wife, the quarrelsome wife. What are the signs of a quarrelsome wife? How do you know a woman is quarrelsome? And if you're quarrelsome watching this, well, you need to consider doing things differently. Number 1, repetitiveness. You see, when a wife that nags and quarrels, one thing, she will talk about it 1,000 times, 500 times, 100 times, 50 times, 10 times, over and over and over and over again. And that is from repetitive request, in frustration, in complaints, often about the same issue over and over and over again. That's the nagging wife. That's the nagging wife. Sometimes she don't even give the husband time to respond or to even think about anything. But she will talk about the same thing so many times in a day, so many times in the week. And the man is just running away from hearing those things. Nagging wife. Another sign of a nagging wife and a quarrelsome wife is micromanagement. Micromanagement. You have decided that this is what needs to happen in your marriage and relationship. This one needs to be done, regardless of what your temperament is or your tendency to micromanagement. But you have told your husband, this is what we're doing. Okay, fine, give him time. But you literally want to know every single micro detail, step by step. And the person you are micromanaging is an adult. He's 25 years old. He's 30 years old. He's 40 years old. And you talk to him like he doesn't even know if he's a human being. You 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 micromanage him like a baby. Well, sometimes they say, oh, men are babies or have baby brain and all that. Well, that is just sometimes exaggeration, but sometimes could be true depending on the dynamics of the relationship and the marriage. But what I'm trying to say is, when you are constantly giving direct orders, direct commandments of the actions your husband needs to take, no matter how minute, no matter how little, you are in charge, you oversee, you dominate, you constantly micromanaging, is frustrating. That's a nagging and a quarrelsome wife. There's no way that man will not just be upset. And then the other sign is impatience. Most times, these women, they don't exercise any patience. They want it now, 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 now. Anything they desire, any outcome they want, any benefit, whatever it is that they want, any change, they want it to be done now. So they show little tolerance for maybe unforeseen delays, unforeseen circumstances, or even direct unmet expectations. For whatever reason, they are just impatient. And you see them scream, shout, talk, get angry, get upset every time. That is an evidence and a sign of a nagging wife. Another one is emotional outburst. Most times they just express this frustration through maybe raising their voice or maybe getting angry, or sometimes they just every time they keep sighing. Either they sigh or they twist their eyes or they're just restless. Every time you see them, they are just doing all these things to let the man know that, yeah, I really want to get you. They will come and give a comment. Sometimes they don't want to give a comment. They use their body language, or they use their voice, or they sigh. They make a particular noise like cockroach noise, or snake noise, or lion noise, or dog noise, or cat noise, or chicken noise, just to get you, wind up. So those outbursts, they're signs of a nagging wife. Some are passive aggressive behavior. They want to talk to you about something, but they're indirect method. They use what is it called again? Sarcasm. You know what I mean? They use sarcasm. They use silent treatment to express displeasure, and they chronically do these things just to hit back at you. That is a sign of a nagging wife, a quarrelsome wife, when they are constantly using sarcasm or indirect way or using silent treatment or withholding affection one way or the other just to create this aggressive behavior to show you that they're really, really displeased, and then they start talking again. That is a nagging wife. And you need to think about that. The other one is criticism. Every flaw of their husband, they will list it out. Every mistake of their husband, they will list it out. And guess what? They never positive side of their husband. All they're only focusing on is the negative side of their husband. The negative side of their husband. That is a sign of a nagging wife. But the question now is this: how how are how are they doing this? Why are they doing this? And sometimes, let's be honest, and I want to be practical here. Why does wife nag? Why do they nag a lot? Now we've talked about some of their signs, but why do they nag? Why are they quarrelsome? Then one that is very, very common is when they are feeling unheard. When a wife feels that her concerns, when she feels that her needs, her desires, her opinions are 100% neglected, ignored, dismissed, they may repeat them so that they will be heard. So when your wife is nagging or quarreling, don't be too quick to judge. Don't be too quick to condemn. The question is, why is she nagging? Why is she feeling this way? Why is she acting this way? Why is she doing this? Maybe she wants to express herself and she has not been able to do that very well with you, and that's why she's nagging so that you can hear. And sometimes nagging is a coping mechanism for women because when they are normal in their talking, well, civil, it looks like they're not getting what they want. It looks like things are not getting done. But the moment they start nagging, because they know their husbands don't like the nagging, then they start creating a way to use nagging as a tool to make their husband act. That is why they nag sometimes, right? And when their husbands are not taking action, when they perceive that their husband is very unresponsive to some request, they are not taking action, they are not focusing on what needs to be done. They have agreed that they're going to do A, B, and C. but the action of the husband doesn't show that he's actually doing what they've agreed to do. The woman will nag, especially household chores where you guys have agreed that this needs to happen and you've made a timetable and then it's not happening. The man is not doing anything. And then you expect the woman not to talk. Maybe she'll talk nicely, maybe she'll be calm. But the moment it's happening so frequent, it becomes difficult for the woman to fully live in that house because the man in itself is not complying to the agreement that has already been made. So feeling unheard can be a challenge. Lack of action. And sometimes as well, women can nag when there is stress and anxiety. When she's very, very stressed. I think this can be very common. Stressed and worried. This can lead to an increased nagging as a way to manage her feelings and helplessness. Women love security, they love a lot of other things. And it's important that the man also think about this. When you see this happening, the question is, what can I do to help? Where can I come in? How can I do things differently? Just to make sure that in the process of engaging with the wife, you are reducing stress. Maybe you might even be the stress. You become a stressor. Some stress can be from inside, some stress can be from the man, some stress can be from the outside, some stress can be from work, children, a lot of things they're thinking about. Stress can create anxiety that can eventually create nagging. And sometimes when a woman is frustrated, she's literally frustrated about a lot of things. You are the closest person to her, and there she will pour everything on you. So sometimes it's good not to take it personal. Even if you feel that you don't like it, you find a way to communicate this thing, which I'm going to talk about very shortly. Some other women as well, they nag because they desire change. They are pushing for a behavioral change. They're pushing for a better environment, a better relationship dynamics, a better connection. Maybe they want something to happen, and they are not getting the romance. Their emotional tank is low. Things are not exactly as she's anticipating, and then you are wondering, why is she doing this? She might be just desiring a change. So before you conclude, just step back and ask yourself, what is the underlying need here? What is the underlying desire here? What is the underlying benefit and outcome that this woman is seeking for, instead of just being quick to start hitting back? You just examine that. And these things can also help to understand the dynamics of what is going on in that relationship. But do you also know, as a man, there is an impact of living with a nagging wife? You heard me when I said this in the Bible, right? This is not great. The Bible said something about this nagging wife of a thing. In Proverbs 29, verse 9, the Bible said, better to live on a corner of the roof than to share a house with a quarrelsome wife. So it just tells you the discomfort and the discord, the pain, the struggle that the man is going to have in that house if the wife is nagging. I'll prefer to stay by the corner of a roof than to stay in a house that is well put together with a woman that just nags and quarrels all the time. There won't be any peace there. Also, the Bible said in Proverbs 27:15 verse and 16, a quarrelsome wife is like the dripping of a leaky roof in a rainstorm. Restraining her is like restraining the wind or grasping oil with a hand. Can you imagine trying to restrain somebody that has a lot of oil in his hand? It's going to be very slippery. And also imagine a rainstorm with a hail, with a thunder, with massive rainfall, and the roof is leaking. Can you imagine your sofa is wet, the TVs are gonna be messed up, everything in the house is gonna be destroyed, the whole place is gonna be soaked. It's like a flood in the house. There is gonna be a lot of mess in that house. So God is saying that that behavior is difficult for a man to live with a woman that nags.
So for a man, there is going to be eroded self-worth. If the woman is persistently criticizing, damaging the husband's confidence and self-esteem, everything the husband does is not good. There's no way that man will be comfortable in that house. The man will lack peace. There won't be any peace in that house. There will be emotional strain, constantly lagging, causing frustration for the man, resentment, or barraging, criticizing, pointing out his flaw. The man will withdraw to his cave. That is how sometimes cavemen are made, because the wife is constantly berating the man with nagging everywhere. Some men don't even want to come back home. They want to stay with their friends outside. They want to stay at work late with maybe Janet, or stay late at work with, sorry if your name is Janet here, or stay with Choma, or stay with Esther, or start looking for, Chantel online somewhere. Just run away from home, because the woman is just one serious thing that the man does not want to deal with. It's very difficult. And there's no way they're going to be enjoying intimacy, because there's constant negative interaction, negative energy. Physical intimacy is going to die, decrease. Communication issues will increase. They can't bond, they can't resolve issues amicably, they can't talk respectively. They're talking over each other. There's misunderstanding, there's sadness. There is no way living with a nagging wife is exciting. It's very hard, it's very difficult to be with a woman that nags. And that is why the husband will start practicing avoiding behavior. He will eat at work, he won't eat at home. He will eat in African restaurant, in other restaurant, he will eat at home. He always telling his friend, let us go and eat. He's avoiding the wife. Most times when the man come back, it's just to eat and sleep. He doesn't even want to talk, even to say good night to the kids, because he doesn't want any wahala. And as long as he sleeps, the wife cannot be shouting and screaming and nagging at him. And then very early in the morning, he ran out again. And he's been doing this now for a couple of weeks, months. That is the only way to escape the naggingness in the house. Very difficult. Very difficult. So this is why, as a woman, it's something that we gotta work on and we're gonna deal with. So let's just take a few minutes break, and then I will come back to wrap this up with what's the solution now. What are we gonna do? Because this autocratic husband, this nagging wife thing is a big problem. Many marriages are suffering, in pain, in disarray. They started very well. They were very good. But autocratism, nagginess has messed up everything, has caused a lot of issues. They are no more friends. They are no more excited about each other. Everybody is just avoiding one another because they know that this one is like this one is like this. No bond, no relationship anymore. They are just flatmates, just hanging there. We're going to be back shortly, as long as you stay with me. All right? I'll be back.
High Performing Man Conference. Wow.
Hi everyone, I'm John, and I've just finished with the High Performance Men Conference.
High Performing Man Conference was amazing.
What an extraordinary weekend this has been. It's been a very power-packed weekend from beginning to the end.
I wasn't quite sure what to expect coming in, but I mean, you've blown all my expectations.
And honestly, I'm lost for words. I'm blown away, but I'm also left really challenged and charged as well. When I came in this morning, my expectations were nowhere near what I actually came and experienced today.
If you were in the room, I've just been hearing that you've not seen men that are vulnerable, that are authentic. And I think it's time for men to begin to help men more.
I've met some very wonderful speakers, made some wonderful connections, but more importantly, I've been charged to become the man that I believe God has called me to be.
And look, we're finished, and they're still around. Nobody wants to go home.
Right? This is the first time I'm ever seeing men at a conference not wanting to go home.
So that means this would have gone on for hours and hours if it even could.
And because we've had a very, very insightful and a thought-provoking and life-transforming and life-changing seminar.
We encourage you and really charge you that if you hear about this next year, please do everything to attend, because you would not remain the same.
When there's another event, I'm definitely coming. My name is Michael, by the way.
If you see anything anywhere before they finish saying high performing, before they say the man, you'll have bought your ticket already because you just don't want to miss the next one.
Wanting to invest in whatever it is that God has called you to do, you want to register for next year.
Hi, welcome back to Married Live TV. This is our Thursday regular show where we talk about how to be a better husband and a better wife and to enjoy your relationship just the way God have designed it. We have been looking at autocratic husband and versus the nagging wife. And we've talked about quite a lot of things. If you're just showing up, please make sure you watch from the beginning. Share this with your friends. Make sure you subscribe so that you know when we're doing this again. Now, the video you just watched was talking about the High Performing Man Conference happening in London on the 6th of July, a couple of weeks away. We are excited that men will change, will evolve, will be transformed, will be empowered, and we're going to see men provoke themselves to become the best that God have designed them to be. It's termed the Complete Man Conference. It's the complete man. So there is nothing that we're not going to talk about. Everything about man will be taught. And we have a section of vulnerability. So wives, register this for your husband. Give them a Father's Day post gift. All right. For those that celebrate that in the UK or in Europe or wherever in the world. And then also, husband, make yourself available. Tell your friends and family, men, to join us in London on the 6th of July, 2024. Let's look at how do we now live and work things out with an autocratic husband and autocratic wife. I'm just going to combine this and just let us know what are we going to do. I think for both couples is very, very important. I want to start from there. Regardless of what tendency you have, regardless of how you were made, and regardless of the challenges you face. Number one, you have to have mutual respect. And this is why it's good for man to intentionally start practicing. How do we respect each other? What is respect to my wife? What is respect to my husband? Now, committing to that specificity of respect list by treating each other with that level of value and regard from their own viewpoint and their perspective and opinion, what respect is to them, mutually doing this, it's going to enhance the relationship dynamics for sure. So you got to think about what you do. The man define what respect is to him, and the wife do so as well. Number two, you need to find a way to communicate better, because these things, you can't resolve them, you can't get better, you can't connect, you can't work on yourselves if you do not build a very strong way of communicating, a first strong way of sharing openly, respectively, lovingly, honestly, but at the same time, non-confrontational, not aggressive, not bullying. If you practice how to discuss this, if you want to take a course in communication, know how to discuss, know your temperament, know your weakness, know your communication styles. These things can go a long way to help you guys as well. In fact, God said, let no evil communication come out of your mouth. Your communication, your words should be seasoned with salt. There should be grace, there should be love, there should be desire to see your spouse lifted even when you communicate. These things are doable, but it takes intentionality, desire, and the willingness to change if there are evidence of communication style that doesn't serve the marriage or serve the relationship. You also need to find time to discuss, time to connect. Because what this thing does is this. Why does the woman nag? Maybe there's an underlying thing. She wants to be heard. She wants to be talked. She wants things to change and all that. And the man could be having challenges, can be having difficulties, could be because of background, whatever.
realizing that you are no longer a ruler, you are now a leader. A leader is not a ruler. A ruler do whatever they want, regardless of how other people feel. But a leader consults, a leader communicates, a leader carries people along, and a leader ensure that they are doing what is right in the best interest of everyone, not selfishness or being self-centered. So quality time is important to reconnect and strengthen your bond and to find how you can continue to love yourselves without any form of distraction or conflict that is going to mar that moment. One of the things again I believe that could also help is shared goals. So find goals that works for you guys, find what you can do together, and invest in personal development. When you know that you are struggling in this area, when you know that you are dealing with this area, it is important that you identify your own personal challenges, your own personal areas, so you can find ways to navigate those. So personal development is big. Individualized personal development based on the areas you want to improve in your life as a wife, as a husband, from the dynamics of your behavior, your character, and your way of doing things in your relationship, your natural tendencies and your flaws and strengths. It is important to discover these things and see where you can intentionally make effort to get better and to improve. Because at the end of the day, you want your relationship to serve both of you. You're there to support and serve each other. And whatever you got to do to help you to be a better version as God designed, then do it. It's going to pay at the end of the day. And then the other one I also want to mention is seeking professional help. Maybe you've tried, you've done different things to support yourselves, but you can still see that you have not been able to fully get to where you need to be. Then find a support from outside. And somebody like myself, I can help, I can support, I can guide, I can direct. All you have to do, just send us, go to our website www.marriedlifemanagement.com, or send us an email as well here, and just tell us what you need, or go to the website, book a 30-minute section. We can find a way to support you. And there are others as well that are out there that can also support you regardless of where you are. Don't keep quiet, don't die in silence. It's very, very important that you seek help which is available for you to make your relationship and to make your marriage to be better and to grow, and not to remain in that state of unhappiness, toxicity, and possible lack of peace. So, if you do that from a background understanding perspective, then you, as an autocratic husband, you have seen your trait, you have seen where you're coming from. Let me address you just specifically. You need to acknowledge and realize that there are some behaviors in you that need changing or that needs to be worked upon. Just acknowledge it. Now, sometimes it's difficult to acknowledge it. Honestly, it is. Especially when the thing is in your face, or when somebody is telling you, but they're not doing it in a respectful manner. That can be very difficult for you to take in. But still look for how you personally, or by the support of feedback mechanism, to look at things you need to work on as an autocratic husband in your own life. Then the other thing again you need to know is that the relationship, you guys are from the same source. God made both of you and brought you guys together. So all this superiority complex, making the other person feel like they are not worthy of you, or they are less of a human, and treating them with unfairness and lack of equity, that's not great. That's not nice. That's not exciting at all. Try to foster this way of doing things by involving your wife in decision making, trying to share responsibilities. You guys should do things together. It's really, really important. Where demarcation of differences arises, you try to respect their boundaries. But at the same time, there are a lot of things that you guys can work on, especially from a decision point of view from your marriage and relationship. You also need to foster empathy. Very important. Try to be flexible at times. Try to value also your wife, and also try to see how you can support your relationship to be better. If I talk to the wife, positive expression for me is a big deal for them, right? You're trying to share something, you're trying to express yourself. Try to do it respectively, constructively. Don't do it in such a way that the man will feel you are attacking his personality, attacking his flaws. Well, you might be saying what is right, but the way you present it with your tone and your malicious way, mischievous way of expressing yourself, the man is not even going to listen. He's not even going to want to even change. And it's just because of the way you are doing it. But there's a way you can communicate to that man that he will get it, and he will do something about it. So wives, be careful with how you express whatever is your concern, whatever is your repetitiveness, whatever is whatever it is that you want to talk about. Positive expression is a big deal. And also try to appreciate your husband, encourage him. Don't always focus on his negative flaws, shortcomings, backwardness. Try also to see what are the areas that he's been better. What are the effort that your husband is doing? Because you can't tell me that your husband is not good at all in anything. Your husband is a human being. You know the interesting thing about all men? We are not 100% devils. You get that? We have just one devil, one. And then we have so many demons running around everywhere, causing a lot of trouble. But we have just one devil. So we can't have two devils. Your husband is not a devil. In fact, he's not even a demon. He's a human being. That's why you married him. That's why you guys are in that family. But he might have flaws and issues and all that. Doesn't make him a devil. We don't have two devils. We have one in this world, right? But somebody might exhibit characteristics and tendency of the devil. It doesn't make him a devil. So this is where you also need to think about how you do things as a wife to manage your expressions and try to encourage, support, find a way to make the man feel like a king, feel like he's doing something. Don't make him just feel like he's nobody, he's worthless. You devalue him. Your language, your body language, your expression, your shyness makes the man look as if he's nothing. That could be challenging. And that man might just remain autocratic for a very, very long time. And at the end of the day, you are wondering why your attitude and behavior is just feeding the man to remain the way he is. So it's good to examine yourself and reflect. What about stress management? Women, I know that you guys sometimes might be stressful. You might have stressful situations, but at the same time, look for a way to look after yourself. Self-care is important, right? Find healthy ways to manage stress, anxiety, worry, difficulties, challenges. Don't always put yourself out there and just create a lot of stress for yourself. Sometimes just step back and just say, okay, um, yeah, this is life, and we're just gonna navigate it. We're just gonna move on. We're gonna do things. Don't let the stress of maybe financial challenge, stress of this, stress of that, and at the end of the day, stress at work, children, the whole thing overwhelm you. You now start being panicky, start being aggressive. You start being talking to everybody like they're kid, micromanaging everybody's life to the highest of levels of details, and they don't like it. That can be very challenging. So manage stress. If you want to take stress management class, go ahead. If you want to seek therapy around that, go ahead. But it's important to manage stress so that you don't be looked at someone that is just quarrelsome woman like the Bible talks about. When these things are there, the impact of your marriage and relationship will definitely increase. And the final one I want to add is regular checking with your spouse, because your spouse know the area you need to work on. You also know the area you need to work on. Both of you know the area you need to work on. You can constantly and regularly check in, weekly, monthly, whatever, and just assess your behaviors. Talk about it, find out, check, and look for way to forgive each other. Make amends, apologize, say you're sorry. Find way to make sure that you manage the expectations within your relationship. Where there are underlying issues and problems and troubles, find way to resolve that. If you can't, then find a professional support and help to actually deal with these specific areas in your relationship so that you can be better. Hence, I said you can send us an email, you can go to our website, www.maritlinemanagement.com, and book a 30 minutes with me or with the team. Do something that can actually show you are changing and you're investing in your relationship. And that regular check-in will impart your relationship and make you guys to be better spouses as you work together. Because I strongly believe that God's desire, God's plan is that both of you submit to one another. Ephesians 5 verse 21 say, submitting yourselves one to another as unto the Lord. So for reverencing God and Christ, you gotta submit, you gotta bring yourself down. And do you know what happened? Sub is lower, right? This is the way I explain submission. That you can literally put the prefix before mission. Submission. The mission is peace. The mission is harmony. The mission is friendship. The mission is forgiveness. The mission is togetherness. So when the Bible says submit one another out of reverence for Christ, submitting yourself one to another as unto the Lord, you are to do this, you need to be humble. You can't have submission, mutual submission between husband and wife if they are not humble. You gotta humble yourself, even if you have PhD. You gotta humble yourself if you have masters. You're CEO. You are the most intelligent at work. You are commanding billions of dollars and millions of dollars, and you are this, you are that. Submission can only work by humility. Sub, you see, bringing yourself under, bringing yourself lower to pursue the mission. The mission is good marriage. The mission is happy marriage. It's peace, it's love, it's excitement, it's togetherness, it's prayerfulness, it's getting to heaven at the end of the day. What is the mission? So Christ and God is so wise that if you want something, there is a mission that you need to accomplish in your marriage and in your relationship. Before you can get that result, you must come down from your high places. Oh, I can't forgive. I can't forgive. Well, to forgive, you need to come down. You want peace, you need to come down. You want harmony, joy, happiness, friendship, love, long marriage, excitement, stability. You need to come down from wherever you are. That place that you're up there, and the I is there, and the I want to do whatever I want. The I want to do this. I want to go all out and deal with this and deal with that and speak my mind and say it exactly the way it is. Whether it's cutting the person and piercing the person and dealing with the person, I don't mind. I'm just gonna do it anyway. Hold on. Then the mission will not be accomplished. It's called submission. So before you start all this thing you're trying to do, are you aware of the mission? That's what God is saying. The mission of marriage is to glorify God. The mission of marriage is to be happy. The mission of marriage is for holiness. The mission of marriage is to glorify your creator. The mission of marriage is to bring godly seed. The mission of marriage is to be happy, is to be joyful, is to walk together, is to serve together. The mission of marriage is to have a piece of heaven on earth. That is the mission of marriage. That's the mission of the relationship. So the moment you forget the mission, then you're not going to be sob. You can't be humble. You're going to be prideful, boastful, cocky, autocratic, nagging, troublesome, very, very difficult human being to deal with. There's no way that marriage is going to be exciting. It's going to be difficult, right? So that's in wrapping this up. Submit to one another. Come down to one another. And make sure the mission of your marriage is very clear. This is why you need to understand what's the mission of your marriage, what's the mission of your relationship, what's the mission of the man in your life, what's the mission of the woman in your life, what's the mission of the kids, what's the mission of this home, this marriage. The Bible says a man will leave his father and his mother, he will cut away from that, and then will come to form this monogamic unity, togetherness, relationship, and build another family. What's the mission? Because if you don't know the mission, then you're gonna remain a nagging wife, you're gonna remain autocratic husband, and at the end of the day, the marriage will break apart, the marriage will suffer, people will have hypertension, depression, antidepressant, people will be sad, miserable, and at the end of the day, the mission of marriage is defeated in your life, and that's not great. So if you want the mission as designed by God to be accomplished, come down. humble yourself and learn and grow and change. So this is what we're going to stop today. And I believe that you've gotten a lot of value from this. So please, I want to encourage those that are watching. I'm just going to watch this in replay. Please share this. Share this so that YouTube can help this video to reach far and wide. You don't know how much value, how much preparation that is put into this to really give out a lot of value. But if people are not hearing the value, if husbands are not hearing the value, then what is going to happen to the marriage and relationship? So let's share. And I believe that if we do so, our lives are going to be changed and things are going to turn around as we become more intentional in our marriage and in our relationship. Don't forget, we have this event coming up on the 6th of July. Make sure you register. If you're in London, in the UK, you know somebody around this area, tell them, encourage them to go. Your son's over 18, let them come and learn, come and grow, come and change, come and evolve. This relationship is a transformative relationship because the conference is a relationship, because we're going to network, we're going to connect with each other, we're going to learn, we're going to grow, we're going to deal with parenting, we're going to deal with marriage, we're going to deal with relationship, spouse, we're going to deal with finance, we're going to deal with business, conflict resolution, trauma, like it's experts. We're going to deal with men's health, total body checks, we're going to do all kind of stuff, BP, cardiovascular, all these things. Peculiarity among the black community over 40 is loaded. This event is something that nobody needs to miss. We're going to look about purpose discovery, personal leadership. We're going to look about the dynamics of finances, experts in their fields doing great stuff. We're all going to learn together, and we might even cry together, because we're going to share authentically from our hearts, our mistakes, our flaws. And even the men struggling in their marriage and relationship, you are abroad, you are here, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to navigate, challenge with the wife, challenge with the husbands, and all sorts. Come, this event, any man that misses it, well, everything is all about choice and decision. But I don't want you to miss it. Get your ticket ASAP from this website so that you don't miss this amazing event. www.limitlesslifepro.com. We are going to be live at the heart of London, Holiday Inn, Regent Park, at the center of London on the 6th of July with incredible and amazing brotherhood, men and women, experts and champions in their field. This is an event no man should miss, because it's a life-changing event. I didn't put this event together, God did, and I know that a lot is already going on. We're already praying, we're already fasting, already talking to God behind the scene, that there's going to be a covering, a shift mindset. And those that came last year can testify about that. So make sure you don't miss this event. I really want to make sure that you join us. Women, please book this so that your husbands can really enjoy their relationship. Now, I'm going to show you guys something. Can you see this shirt? This shirt is saying 100% satisfied husband. That is not being faked. I'm a satisfied husband. And I'm grateful that I have a wife that worked with me to build this. She's having satisfied wife. I'm having satisfied husband. So remind ourselves that this thing is commitment, is focus, is dedication, is work. You will reap what you sow. So husbands, come and learn and sow so you can reap. Wife, chase them, push them out of the house. Let come one day for transformation to happen, because that is going to be the life-changing stuff for every one of them. So let's hear this, and I will see you guys next week on the other side. There's a lot of series of stuff coming anyway, but I can't wait to speak to you guys very soon.
High Performing Man Conference. Wow.
Hi everyone, I'm John, and I've just finished with the High Performance Men Conference.
High Performing Man Conference was amazing.
What an extraordinary weekend this has been. It's been a very power-packed weekend from beginning to the end.
I wasn't quite sure what to expect coming in, but I mean, you've blown all my expectations.
And honestly, I'm lost for words. I'm blown away, but I'm also left really, really challenged and charged as well. When I came in this morning, my expectations were nowhere near what I actually came and experienced today.
If you were in the room, I've just been hearing that you've not seen men that are vulnerable, that are authentic. And I think it's time for men to begin to help men more.
I've met some very, very wonderful speakers, made some wonderful connections, but more importantly, I've been charged to become the man that I believe God is coming to be.
And look, we're finished, and they're still around. Nobody wants to go home.
Right. This is the first time I'm ever seeing men at a conference not wanting to go home.
So that means this have gone on for hours and hours if we even could.
Because we've had a very, very insightful and a thought-provoking and life-transforming and life-changing seminar.
We encourage you and really charge you that if you hear about this next year, please do everything to attend, because you would not remain the same.
When there's another event, I'm definitely coming. My name is Michael, by the way.
If you see anything anywhere, before they finish saying high performing, before they say the man, you'll have bought your ticket already, because you just don't want to miss the next one.
Wanting to invest in whatever it is that God has called you to do, you want to register for next year.